Hi all, welcome to the channel, welcome to the workshop. So today is just an update from my previous video. So if you've seen the previous video, which I'll pop up in the corner here, I had the Mike Lane remote control and power mod for the DeLorean. However, as you know, I did take it back out, mainly because I couldn't get to some of the cables that I needed to. And obviously what I was doing was running off a Raspberry Pi. Now, without having to disassemble the entire car to get back to that EagleMoss board, I have managed to find a way to be able to get access to the EagleMoss board. So I've been able to wire the Model Mods flux capacitor back to where it should have been when I first got it, which is the negative lead into the EagleMoss board. And also, I've got the positive and negative leads running from the auxiliary socket from Mike's board now, so I can turn that on and off with the auxiliary switch on the remote control. So this is a quick update to show you what I've done and how I've got it working. So I have recorded this on my phone, mainly because the DeLorean is still in bits, as you can see. And as you can see, I've only just sort of disassembled this corner, and recording on my phone means I can get you in nice and close here and also show you what I've had to do underneath the car as well. So enjoy watching that, and when you see the outro, this car will be back together and looking a little bit more like a time machine. Enjoy.
Welcome to the workshop. Tools are ready to play. We're gonna build something great, starting here today. Piece by piece we go now.
Right, apologies, I'm doing this on my phone. However, it's probably the easiest way to show you this. Now, in my previous video, just showcasing the Mike Lane remote control board there, I said that I couldn't do anything else apart from disassemble the car to make it work with the EL wire and the Model Mods flux capacitor. Well, I've now made that happen without disassembling the entire car. Now, the one I couldn't do is when I was running it off of this sort of Raspberry Pi, I had the positive and negative coming off the ground and the positive pin that I was using to turn it on and off on there, which meant that this blue cable that you can see here, this is the one I was using for the ground for the Model Mods flux capacitor. It meant it wasn't plugged into the EagleMoss board, which is way down there and you can't see it. And I didn't have a cable coming up from that pin, thinking that I'd never need it. So I figured I'd have to disassemble the car to get back to the EagleMoss board. However, no is the answer. So that blue wire is coming from the EagleMoss board, and I didn't have to disassemble the car. And the reason I didn't have to disassemble it, well, a little disassembly was required. So if I just drop you down here, you can see what I've done. If I just pull this out of the way as well. Now that's going up at a minute because you can see I've disassembled the linkage here, which meant I could disassemble this lower swing arm. And I've also removed, there's a panel that goes just here, and basically I've removed that panel. There's about half a dozen screws holding that panel in, but you can see now it gives you access. And if I shine a bit more light on the subject and hopefully focus the camera, you can see the EagleMoss board there, and you can just about see that there's two blue wires, the one towards the right of the screen. That's a thicker one. That is the one that's going to pin 16, I think it is, which was the original flux capacitor pin. And that's now just fed up through the back of the car like that. And obviously this panel is going to be back in place, so you won't be able to see any of these wires eventually. And as I say, it comes up to here. And then when it comes up to here, it just goes into these two thin black wires, which is the tree and the flux capacitor from Model Mods. That's the negative side. So that's the one that basically turns it on and off. From Mike's board, we've got the power input, which would go to the EagleMOS board, which is this pin just here. Now, the original instructions will tell you to put in a single cable, so that will go from that JST to this style DuPont cable, which will go to the EagleMOS board. What I've actually done, as you can see, is I've actually used the split cable. So that's a JST to 2 sets of DuPont leads. This one is the important one, or part of the important one. This one goes off to the positive side of the flux capacitor and the tree SID. So that gives it its permanent 5 volts. And then the negative side, as I said, will be the switching side, and it'll just get a signal on and off. Now that means that obviously you can use it with this board, you can use it with the Model Mods remote board, you can even use it with this, because all it does is just send this signal. And then the other side of that split obviously goes to this orange and white wire at the moment. Now I will tidy that up a little bit more, but that goes into the power loom, is what I'm calling it, into the car, which obviously will power the EagleMOS board. And it actually gives me another 5 volts out here. Now that, if you go back to some of my previous videos, you'll see the power mod that I created, which basically gives me power up here. I have power at the front here, which I can't actually get to without disassembling the car, but it's effectively like a power loom that goes to the whole front to back of the car. But Mike's board is there. Now obviously it's not in the right location because it's not behind that panel there, but with the DeLorean you're never going to see the engine bay, and that's why I sort of had the Raspberry Pi sort of stuffed in there as well. So I'm just going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to stuff this down in the engine, tidy up all the wires, and then we'll have remote control. And while that's like that, let's just see. Right, turn it on, and you can see that the flux capacitor is coming to life, as well as the EL bands, etc. All the other internal lighting is turning on. The external lights are turned on. So that is now controlling the DeLorean completely. So absolutely brilliant. So that is the final part of the Mike Lane remote control and power mod. Now what I'll probably do, now I know originally Mike said about bringing a power cable out of the wheel well. However, what I'm probably going to do is I'll probably just drop it out under here somewhere under the engine, where you're not really going to see it at all. You're going to have a power cable coming from the car one way or another. Originally mine did come from here, and it ran under the car and still came out the back anyway. So a black cable coming out the back is not going to be a problem with this. And if you look at any of the other vehicles that I've got, the Skyline for instance, it just has a cable coming out the back anyway. If you're going to power mod something, you're going to have a cable coming out the back one way or the other. So the best way you can do it is try and hide it. And I think, you know, if you did go out one of the wheel wells, if you're displaying the car one way around or the other, then you're not really going to see it. But as I say, I'm going to bring mine out the back just here. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please remember to hit the like button below and give us a massive thumbs up. Yes, I know this was sort of like a duplicate video as such, but I was excited to get the mod in and working properly. So I did take apart the car. Now, if I had to have disassembled the entire car completely to get to the EagleMOS board, then I might not have done it. But when taking that plate off the bottom and realizing that I could get to the pin that I needed to for the flux capacitor and the EL wire, I was very, very happy and decided, like, let's do this and actually put the board in properly and get it properly controlled with Mike's remote control. Now, as you can see, the workbench is in darkness at a minute, just so I can show you this. So pressing the on button turns absolutely everything on, including the flux capacitor. As you can see, just about fluxing there. That looks absolutely fantastic still. And obviously now fully remote controlled using Mike's board. Now, obviously, previously I did have a remote control for this car. I used to use a Raspberry Pi, so now that is redundant. I used to use one of these controls, which was an IR control. Just put an IR receiver on this. Now, one thing I'd done previously is using a Broadlink RM4 Pro, which is basically a smart remote control. It's a little device about yay big, maybe about 8 by 8 centimeters, something like that, very small. And it's basically a IR and RF repeater. Well, not a repeater, it actually just it can send those commands, and it can learn from remote controls, and it can also take over and control a lot of your media devices and things, so like your TV. But as I say, what it can do, it can learn remote controls. So I programmed it to know how this control works, so it could turn things on and off. So therefore, I could ask my smart home device to turn the DeLorean on, and it did. Now, I'm really happy to say that I haven't lost that functionality. With Mike's remotes being RF, the Broadlink RM Pro can actually produce an RF signal. So I might do another small follow-up. It might just be a short video showing you how this works with the RM4 Pro and controlling the DeLorean. So I don't think Mike had seen my video about the smart home device in this one, but it's really nice to see that he's put that sort of functionality in. Now, it might have been by coincidence that he'd done that, because obviously it's an RF remote, and this Broadlink RM Pro can do RF and IR. So it would have been just a matter of time before that came along and that functionality popped into Mike's head. But it's not just the DeLorean, it's all the remotes like this that Mike does that will be able to be controlled by the RM4 Pro. Now, with that, you can do it via the app on your phone. And as I say, you can even do it using your smart home assistant. Now, I haven't set it up yet, but as I say, there might be a small video coming up at some point soon showing you how to do that as well. But for now, the DeLorean looks absolutely fantastic, and we can turn it off, and we can even turn individual circuits on. So if I just turn the lights on that you can see there, we can turn them off again. And if I press number 4, I believe that's the flux capacitor. Yep, you can see it just flashing away in there. So brilliant little mod, and yeah, I know that's not the only one out there, but it's the one I have, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. If you want to see more of what goes on in the workshop, please do remember to hit the subscribe button and ding the bell for notifications. That way you'll know when I release new videos. Until the next time, I'll see you around. Cheers.